Stellaris. Is it worth a buy? Let's read the words of the developers. Explore a vast galaxy full of wonder. Paradox Development Studio, makers of Crusader Kings and Europa Universalis series, presents Stellaris, an evolution of the grand strategy genre with space exploration at its core. Featuring deep strategic gameplay, a rich and enormously diverse selection of alien races, and emergent storytelling, Stellaris has engaging, challenging gameplay that rewards interstellar exploration as you traverse, discover, interact and learn more about the multitude of species you will encounter during your travels. Etch your name across the cosmos by forging a galactic empire, colonizing remote planets and integrating alien civilizations. Will you expand through war alone or walk the path of diplomacy to achieve your goals? So what is Stellaris? Well, it's a 4X strategy game. And I just reviewed one of these the other day, Falling Stars, but that was kind of like a low budget one, nowhere near as deep as this. This is more like your Civilization depth of 4X strategy game. It's deeper than Sins of a Solar Empire, Rebellion and all them. I mean, I like these type of games. I wasn't a massive fan of Civilization, but I loved Sins of a Solar Empire, Rebellion. Now, for me, it wanted to be more like Sins of a Solar Empire and less like Civilization, but unfortunately it was more like Civilization and less like Sins of a Solar Empire. So I didn't enjoy it as much as I kind of thought I would, but I still enjoyed playing the game. It is extremely deep. Let's start at the beginning. You select your race, and there's a lot of races. There's the human race, obviously, and there's a lot of other alien races that you can choose, and you can customize them till your heart's content. I mean, you can really go to town customizing the actual races. My own empire is called the Corrupt United Nations Traders, or CUT for short, and you can also use that as a prefix for your ship. So you know how, like in Star Trek, the USS Enterprise? Well, mine are abbreviated with CUT. So, for example, my construction ship could easily be renamed to Colbeck, for example. Or my science ship, Dune Toon. So, as you can see, it's really customizable to set the game up the way you want it, you know. And the great thing about this is that when you attack or send your ships into another area, they'll probably think, oh my goodness, this guy means business. And then they'll back off and kind of relegate themselves to sort of a lower position, you know. You can also change the appearance and everything about your selected empire. But before you even get to that, the game options are quite immense. You can change the size of the galaxy, you can change how many AI, you can change the difficulty of them, resources, everything you really want. So you can construct the game to be as long as or as difficult as you want. There's also multiplayer as well as the full single player thing. So is it hard to play? Because I know that's the first thing a lot of people are going to want to know, because looking at it, it does look very daunting. Well, the good news is this: it has an amazing tutorial, one of the best tutorials I've ever seen in a game. It kind of leads you through the game either in a full-blown tutorial, a part tutorial, or a very, very low hand-holding tutorial. And I suggest that if you've never played this before, or a game like this before, you go for the full-blown one, and it will just show you everything about the game. It's great. So you can learn the game even if you're new to this kind of stuff. But a word of warning, it does become very, very deep later on, and very complex and very micromanaging. So it's not going to be for everybody. This is really for those people who have scraggy beards. You know them. They don't shave. They don't trim their beard. They don't trim their beard with they don't groom their beard. They don't look after their beard. They just let it grow. You know, you'll have side hairs coming out that are too long, and the left side is longer than the right side, and the bottom's gone all scraggy looking. They don't care. And they probably have a girlfriend who has blue hair, light blue hair, and she wears leggings, but her ass is so big you could show a fucking movie on it. They will love this. They will love this game because they don't give a fuck about anything else. They'll just sit in the house and just eat pizza and play this game for a month. They will like this game. But the guy who trims his beard, the guy who likes that manly look and trims it and grooms it and all of this and doesn't go to bed in a Marvel t-shirt, I don't think they'll like it. They'll probably like Sins of a Solar Empire better than this. This is probably a bit too deep for them, but if you've got the beard, you'll like this. If you've got that scraggly looking beard and blue-haired girlfriend, you're gonna like this. You probably are gonna like this. So how does it play? How does it work? What do you do? Well, I'm human, so I start in the Sol system and my only planet is Earth. You start with a construction ship and a science ship, and the first thing you've got to do is you've got to survey your solar system. So the first thing you do, you select your science ship and you click on the main star, which is the sun, and you say, hey, survey this place, alright? And he will fly around and he will scan every planet and star and show you where resources are, and also show you what planets, if any, are colonizable. That can take 10 minutes, so you let them get off doing that. Now, while your science vessel is doing that, you can have a look on Earth on the surface, and it's all marked with tiles. Under each tile there'll be an icon for a resource. Now the resources are energy, minerals, there's food, there's research points, and things like that. And what you've got to do is you've got to have a population on that tile to harvest them specific resources. You can amplify the resources by building the relevant structure on that tile as well. Some tiles that have a yellow and black outline around them, you need to clear them. They are blocked by whatever is in the actual icon. It could be a big giant monster, it could be a volcano, a swamp, a jungle, and you have to make sure you've researched the right thing to be able to clear that. For example, you can't just go and clear a swamp unless you've researched swamp clearing. But if you can clear that, you can then get at the resource underneath and start expanding your colony on Earth. You can also build armies on your planets as well, which helps if somebody's trying to steal it off you. You want to make life as hard as possible for your enemy. So once you've surveyed all your planets, you can then have a look at what's on offer in your solar system, and you'll see under certain planets and stars and moons there'll be resource icons underneath them. Now in order for you to get them resources for yourself, you have to build the relative station in orbit. So it might be, if it's research points under the planet, you build a research station. If it's resource points, you build a mining station. You get the idea. You get an income coming in, which is across the top of the screen. You can see there's energy, there's minerals, and there's influence and research points, and then you can spend them. And what do you spend them on? Well, in my case, big military spaceships, because I'm a warmongering twat, and that's what I do. So you've got your solar system searched, you've got it mined, you now want to go and explore what's out there. How big is the world? Well, like I said at the beginning, you can make it as big or as small as you want. So you send your science ships out, and you want to build a few of these to survey other solar systems. You then send your construction ships out to build in them. You occupy them, you expand. This is what the game's all about. You expand and colonize new planets. You build space stations. You research new weapons, new alloys, and you build a fleet of warring vessels, and you will crush and conquer everybody out there, and that's the game. Now the researching works like this. You've got 3 areas of research. You've got physics, engineering, and now the physics side of things is where you will research sort of extra capacity for your minerals, for your energy. You can research better researching and things like that. The engineering tends to be very military based, although you can build a few buildings, like engineering buildings, to make things easier for yourself. And the other one that I mentioned is more of like a social thing. It's where you research things like diplomacy, you research propaganda, you research things for your people, essentially. Now, as you uncover new civilizations, you will run into the AI. Now, the AI isn't just the other empires. There's like the crystalline entities knocking about. There's aliens flying around, giant space amoebas and all kinds of stuff. There's AI on some of the planets. You can actually go and be nice with the people on the planets. You can advance their civilizations, and then they're turn on you, the little bastards. But there's all sorts that you can actually do. The AI isn't that good, I didn't think. I'll come to that in a minute if I remember. But at the minute, I want to concentrate on when you meet another AI. You establish that first contact with them, and it's generally a case of, all right, we are the c***s. How are you doing? You all right? Good, that's fine. And then they'll have a look at you and what you're doing, and they'll see your ethics, and they'll see how you've set up your colony. And you have to have a leader, and he has to have his little traits. You might be a dictatorship, you might be a democracy, and if the aliens don't like that, they'll say, hey, face, we don't like you anymore, you bastards, and then they'll just declare war on you. It's like that. Or they may say, hey, do you want a trade deal? We'll trade stuff. And so you have this rapport going with the AI empires, and you can put a lot of these in. I mean, I don't know how many, but I think the game I had about 20 of them in. There was a lot of them, and eventually they're going to start fighting amongst themselves, and there's always somebody. There's some Germans up there. There's bound to be the German version of the AI who just wants world domination, and so you can form alliances, and you can also just be the bastard and go and annihilate them all. And that's when the game really gets very tedious in a way, because as you expand and you expand and expand and expand, there is no real automation, so you have to micromanage pretty much everything. Now, if you have, say, I don't know, 5 or 6 planets or asteroids in each system, and each one of them has space stations or mining or research stations in orbit, and a big giant fleet comes through and wipes half of them out, you've got to go and manually rebuild all of those, which is a bit of a shame. And not only that, you have to go back down to the surfaces of each planet that you've colonized and make sure everything's hunky-dory dandy-doodle when you're down there, which again is time-consuming. There's a pause button which allows you to stop the game and do a shitload of stuff while the game's paused, which is brilliant. You couldn't play the game without it. Well, you could if you have blue hair and a scraggy beard, but if you don't, you need this pause button. It's a deep game. It's a very, very deep game, and I've only really scratched the surface with it. I mean, there's troop movements. You can lift entire populations off one planet and put them on another. You can do pretty much everything. They've thought of everything in this game, but I think they've thought of too much. I think there's too much. I would have much rather seen less to do, but the stuff that you can do better. For example, the fighting between ships is you just sit and watch. You know, there's your fleet, there's their fleet. If they don't think they can win, they'll f*** off. And it's like Tom and Jerry, cat and mouse, trying to catch them, which is annoying. So what I kind of do is I lure them in by only having like a small fleet. There's bait, and then when they get in, I bring in my main fleet and annihilate them. But they take too long to move the fleets as well. You know, it's a slow process. It's nowhere near as good as Sins of a Solar Empire, the actual fighting. It all seems just a bit kind of, hey, my fleet's worth 2k, yours is worth 3k, well, mine's going to win then. You know, it's that kind of thing. I mean, it is nice that you can design your own ships. You can decide what guns is on it, what modules are on it, and you can name them, and that's nice. I like that, providing you've researched the weapons. I find missiles to be really powerful at the minute, and I haven't really bothered with the other stuff, so I've still got a lot to do in this game. I'm enjoying it, but that's because I like this kind of game, and I've been playing this kind of game for a long time, so it wasn't a big kind of deal for me. But the casual kind of space player might not like this, but I'm gonna thumb it up simply because it is a really good 4X strategy game. It needs polishing, it needs fixing in a few areas, but it isn't a bad game. It's just not the best of this. I still think Sins of a Solar Empire Rebellion is the best. For me it is, because I don't have the scraggy beard and a blue-eyed girlfriend. But that's the reason why. It's more for the lunatic than, it's not as deep. This is why I don't like Civilization. It's just too deep for me. I needed to come back a little bit more into the arcadey, but I don't like just arcadey. I like a bit of depth. You know what I'm saying? This is way past the arcadey and into the depth, Civilization style. So I hope that I've brought that across to you of how you play this and what you're going to see if you want to buy it. I mean, they ultimately, like all my videos, they're not in-depth reviews. I'm giving you an idea of whether it's worth buying. So I hope I've kind of done that with this, but the decision is yours at the end of the day. I think it is if you're into 4X strategy games. I really do, because it is a fun game. But like I say, caution. Check the colour of your girlfriend's hair before you buy it.